In 1960, Chile was hit by the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, and the ground shook for nearly 10 minutes straight.
1960 emerges as the most disastrous earthquake year of modern times.
The tsunami it created didn't just destroy the Chilean coastline. It crossed the entire Pacific Ocean and killed people in Hawaii, the Philippines, and Japan. People who had no idea an earthquake had even happened on the other side of the world. When scientists put a number on what had occurred, they called it a 9.5 on the Richter scale, which is actually a problem because we haven't used the Richter scale in decades. Most people don't realize that. Ask someone on the street how earthquakes are measured and they'll say the Richter scale. And news anchors still say it too, but scientists moved on from Richter back in 1979. And the reason why tells you a lot about how our understanding of the planet has changed over time. Charles Richter invented his scale in 1935, and it worked by measuring the size of the waves that a seismograph picked up. A seismograph is the instrument that draws a line on paper every time the ground moves. And the bigger the wave on the paper, the bigger the number on the scale, with adjustments made depending on how far away from the earthquake the instrument was sitting. For a few decades, this was good enough. But as scientists started studying larger and larger earthquakes, a serious flaw started to show itself. The problem had a technical name: magnitude saturation. The Richter scale was built around measuring specific types of seismic waves, and those waves have a ceiling. They stop getting proportionally bigger once an earthquake crosses a certain size. The earthquake itself keeps getting stronger and releasing more energy, but the waves the Richter scale was measuring just plateau, which meant that a magnitude 8 and a magnitude 9 could look almost identical on a Richter reading, and both would come out as somewhere around an 8. A good comparison is a thermometer that works fine up to 37 degrees, but above that always reads 38, no matter what the real temperature is. It keeps producing a number, but that number has stopped meaning anything useful, and that's exactly the situation scientists found themselves in with the Richter scale when it came to the biggest earthquakes on record. So in 1979, a seismologist named Hiro Kanamori developed a better system called the moment magnitude scale, written as MW. Instead of measuring waves on a machine, it measures the actual physical energy released by the earthquake by looking at three things: how rigid the rock was that broke, how large the surface of the fault was that slipped, and how far the two sides of that fault actually moved. Multiply those three things together, and you get a number that reflects the true size of the event without any ceiling and without depending on which instrument you used or how far away from the earthquake you happen to be standing. Now, the part that most people get completely wrong when they look at earthquake magnitudes is what the numbers actually mean relative to each other. When you see them go up, 5, 6, 7, it feels natural to assume each step represents a similar increase in strength, maybe a magnitude 6 being twice as powerful as a 5. But the scale doesn't work that way at all. It's logarithmic, which means each step up multiplies the energy rather than adding to it. And that multiplication factor is roughly 32 each time. A magnitude 6 releases 32 times more energy than a magnitude 5, and a magnitude 7 releases 32 times more than a 6, making it about 1,000 times more powerful than a magnitude 5. If this is making sense, hit that subscribe button. It helps me more than you'd think. Now back to it. To give those numbers something real to hold on to, the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima released energy roughly equivalent to a magnitude 6 earthquake. And the 2004 earthquake off the coast of Indonesia measured 9.1 on the moment magnitude scale, releasing energy equivalent to about 23,000 Hiroshima bombs going off underground simultaneously. Running through the scale from bottom to top, magnitude 1 and 2 earthquakes can't be felt by people at all. Magnitude 3 might produce a slight tremor. Magnitude 4 is where most people start to notice something is happening. Magnitude 5 is where structural damage begins. Magnitude 6 means serious shaking and real destruction. Magnitude 7 happens roughly once a month somewhere on Earth and can be devastating depending on where it strikes. Magnitude 8 comes around about once a year globally, and magnitude 9 happens maybe once every 20 years or so. Magnitude 10 has never been recorded, and most scientists believe Earth's tectonic plates may not be physically capable of generating one. Which brings everything back to Chile in 1960. That 9.5 released more energy than every other earthquake on Earth that entire year combined, and it remains the largest event ever measured. Now you understand what that number actually represents, not just a figure on a news ticker, but a physical reality. The rock that broke, the fault that slipped, and the energy that crossed an entire ocean. Next video we're looking at earthquakes themselves, what causes them, where they happen, and why some countries seem to get hit over and over again while others barely feel a thing. See you there.